episodes, and I
Yeah.
was like, all right, pants, some good looking
Get
shoes,
comfy.
make
Yeah,
sure that
I
I'm
like
all
those
right.
shoes too.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it just becomes like we make decisions all the time, but
Yeah.
we overascribe certain decisions
Yeah.
a value
Yeah.
or a weight. And so the best people in the world are the ones who are able to make decisions.
Hmm.
And you can make a decision, and oftentimes you can back that decision out. But a lot of the times in the world, what we're doing is we're so worried that the decision that we make is going to be the be all end all of the
Yeah.
rest of the world, and that's like just how things are going to be.
Yeah.
And it's not like that.
Yeah. True. True.
You
True.
know, like in the way that we have to do this, it's door to door sales.
Yeah.
So the government of New Brunswick actually steps in and protects everybody
Right.
for the first 10 days.
Yeah.
If I came in and like didn't brush my teeth and that was the reason that you wanted to cancel, like you have bad breath. Cool, man. Like the government of New Brunswick protects you for that decision and you
Okay.
can back out for it.
Okay.
So it's not my responsibility to like talk somebody into something or trick them into
Right.
some decision that is going to harm them. It's my responsibility to help them overcome all of the like demons that are existing inside their own brain anyways.
Right.
uh what if my friends, your friends are all gonna laugh at you for doing
Yeah. Yeah.
it, or
That's the solar guy.
what if the panels that I buy are the absolute garbage panels.
Yeah.
And so I stole this from Hormozy, but it's like
Yeah.
diffusing bombs,
Right.
or he says killing zombies,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so the story that he uses, and I'll do a terrible job of telling it, but I really love it because it helped me really unlock things. Is if a zombie is all the way, out in Dieppe,
Yeah.
it's easier to take care of that zombie all the way out in Dieppe, right? But if it's like on top of you, your choices become so much more uh, acute,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
And
Right.
so if I can diffuse that bomb when there's more time left on the timer,
Yeah.
the pressure gets relieved, and then it just becomes a normal conversation, and it's easy for that
Right.
person to be in the right place to make the decision, because decision is really just like, do you know the definition of the word decision? Decision is from Latin, and it's um, decide, excuse me, is to kill off all other options.
Okay.
Decidere,
Okay.
and then, right? I
Right.
don't know the exact parts of the words right
Yeah.
now, but
Yeah.
decide means like side, right? Homicide,
Okay.
suicide,
Okay.
regicide,
Yeah.
right? And then D, cut off.
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay.
if you can help somebody come to a decision,
Right.
they're not going to cancel
Right.
because they've been able to be in a safe place, and their amygdala finally lets go
Right.
and
It's
says,
like you're
"This is
not in
okay."
danger, or you're like
Yeah,
the
exactly,
fears aren't gonna
right?
happen.
And uh, Never Split the Difference is a great book.
I've heard
Um,
about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a guy who used to work in the FBI, and his last name's Boss, and
Yeah.
he literally says like, stuff starts at no,
Right.
because it's a place of safety that I've decided for myself
Hmm.
in no.
Hmm.
And if you say no, and then I'm like, but why? Like, what's up with that?
Right.
Or, hey, I hear that you're saying no. Can you help me understand a little bit more about why you arrived at no for that at that moment?
Okay.
Then it just becomes a situation where we're able to peel back the onion, and then
Yeah.
you're like, oh, like my friend did this, and I saw that they had a bad experience. Okay, so your friend had a bad experience, and they told you about the bad experience, and then you're gonna think that like every experience in that whole field. Okay, well, if you dated a girl in grade 5
And it didn't work
and it
out.
didn't work out,
Are all girls gonna
right?
suck?
Stole that from Hormozy as well, right? Like, um, and so like I take it as my responsibility is to just be a student, to study
Hmm.
all of the things that are like inhibiting somebody from getting the thing that they're already telling me that they want,
Hmm.
so that I can walk the path with them and say, come with me,
Yeah.
let's get the thing that you want together.
Yeah.
And then if we can get the thing that you want together,
Yeah.
you're going to be better off,
Right.
because you already know that you're going to be better off, because you've already chosen that you wanted it,
Right.
but you've ascribed this like terrible evil power to
Yeah.
this part of it. And so let's just be a guide. And so like we're called advisors because
Right.
it's my responsibility to facilitate.
Yeah.
And if we know from like French, facilitate, facile, make things
Yeah.
easier,
Yeah.
right? It's my responsibility to like have the knowledge and make things easier for that person
Right.
to decide on the thing that they've already said that they wanted.
Right. I love it.
Yeah.
That's like the and it's nice that you use advisor as a term. I've also heard like professional mind maker upper, which is like kind of one that
Okay.
that can be used instead of sales.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think oftentimes when we look at the salesman, we think of like the sleazy car salesman and the sales pitch,
Yeah.
and we all prescribe to this notion of something that just feels dishonest and is that snake oil salesman or whatnot. um but I like the approach of hearing that it's like, I know that people aren't going to be 100% convinced from the start, but if I can walk them through the parts that right now they're fearful of, or they're scared of shame or whatnot, maybe we can get closer to where they started in the first place, which was they were interested, but they need to be walked through and see everything for what it is, versus being like you said, the example where it's like, well, your one friend had the one experience and then that's going to be your universal truth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And um the quicker that I can get to that person, because they're in pain. There's a
mhm,
lot of pain that's going on in the province of Atlantic Canada and Canada as a whole. Like we
mhm,
don't even have to just look at it from an energy perspective, but I'm looking at it from an energy perspective. Like,
yeah,
did you know that 1 in 4 or 1 in 5? There was an article that came out this minute. It's either 1 in 4, 1 in 5.
mhm.
Maritimers live in energy poverty,
No,
meaning that they're spending more than 7% of their income on energy needs.
okay,
And we've
okay.
all heard the story, like pay the electricity bill or feed my kids.
Right. Especially this winter where
That's
people like,
terrifying.
yeah,
My next door neighbor almost got evicted in the middle of the winter
right.
because of
Not
not
being
being
able
able to
to,
pay things.
yeah,
And
that's crazy.
so incomes aren't keeping up with the cost of living.
Hmm.
COVID ramped things up,
Yeah,
and we saw a 4, a 9, a 9% increase
yeah,
in the province in the
yeah,
last 3 years
yeah.
here in New Brunswick. And across the Maritimes,
Hmm.
energy costs are, it's higher in PEI because they buy our energy from us,
No
right?
way. Okay.
So if people are living in energy poverty, that's just like a small microcosm of the macrocosm of what's really going on. And so oftentimes when I'm going to meet with people, I'm like, is this expensive for you? And they're like, yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm like, then it's going to make such a big difference in your life.
Okay.
If you're able to overcome the thing that's going on for you right now and recognize that, yes, there's a cost of acquisition for
Hmm.
what you're looking for
Right.
at the beginning,
Yeah.
but you're going to be able to save 40, 50, 70, 100, $350,000 over the lifetime of this system
Okay.
because it runs for such a long time. Aren't you going to be in a better off place?
True.
So is this a big deal? Is this a lot of money for you? Yeah. Cool. That means it's going to work even better for you.
Right.
If it's a lot of money now and you can save all that money for the next 30 years,
Yeah.
that's wicked.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then cool. Let's do it right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, one way or the other. Like you've already said you want to be here, so like I don't know, you you have an energy bill. I help you fix that. Like
Right.
what's the problem? I don't understand. But you know, sometimes it's literally just like I hate onions. Cool. Like let's
Right.
take onions out of your diet, bro. We'll
Yeah.
we'll be good. You ready to go?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, I spent 45 minutes talking about this and it was just onions.
Yeah. I
I thought we
know.
were talking about energy, but whatever it is that you need, man.
Uh, well, we kind of like segued into just the conversation and without an intro, and sometimes we do these on it, which is amazing. But Andrew, welcome to the Here's How podcast.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'll tell you what, we quickly met after a meeting, which you quickly told me the story of how you got into the meeting, which then, as you were talking and how you were talking, you had this energy and this aura that was like really captivating and interesting. And I was really pumped that you were on board to be on the podcast, because I felt like there was something there that I wanted to uncover and get more interested, um, with you as the individual, but also what you're all about, which I find is something that a lot of people are aware that it exists, but as you've spoken just briefly about it, I think a lot of people are severely unaware of all the benefits of it and how it can really save you a lot of money down the line and get you out of a really bad situation. But there's always the caveat of what's the cost up front, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I really want to start off with how you became, I guess, where would you say that this journey became of being the individual that you are that's, you know, not like you really didn't resonate, like you don't give off that energy of someone that's like, I'm here for a meeting because I want to get a commission and I want to drive a sale and that's it, that's all. And sometimes like, when you meet people cold or you get a cold call or whatnot, I find like maybe 6 or 7 out of 10 people, sometimes that's how I feel. You were the total opposite. And I'm wondering like, when did that start?
Well, first off, like, thanks so much for seeing that in me. But
No problem.
just to know that, like, if you can see something in somebody, it's because it already exists in you, and like, I'm just a mirror for the things that exist inside
Cool.
of you. And so, Genesis story. Um, I used to run a senior living portfolio.
Okay.
So I graduated from York University and got sort of headhunted into working in senior living. Strangely enough, my degree is in criminology. I took a
Okay.
lot of philosophy courses. Didn't make
Okay.
any sense why it is that I was doing it, but I got headhunted into it and moved up pretty quickly from just like one building to 3 buildings to 10 buildings to sometimes overseeing 29 buildings across Canada,
Okay.
nearly $900 million portfolio. I think I was like 25, 27, something like
Holy
that.
shit.
But really, uh, I was that salesperson at that
Okay.
time.
Okay.
I was that, like, it's just all about the commission. It's just all about like making the money, and like I thought that sales was about tricking people.
Right.
And there was this guy named John Clemshin who wrote a book, and it was like how to sell without being an a-hole.
Okay.
Um, and I was like, what? Like, this is a possibility? Uh, and what the thrust of the book is it's you, if you trick people into something, they're not going to be, they might stick with it
Right.
because they come to the conclusion that it is actually a good thing for
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
and you were there. But if you're tricking people into buying your stuff and then you're not delivering what it is that
Hmm.
like you've said in the whole upfront process, or like maliciously,
Yeah.
because people will hear things, and interpretations and communication happens the way that it does. So
Hmm.
sometimes miscommunications occur.
Hmm.
But if you're doing that willfully,
Hmm.
like, my God, get out of sales. Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
please stop.
Yeah.
Because you're harming everybody. And it becomes a situation where, just like I said earlier, if I offer a high five and you've been hit in the face before, like, you're
Yeah.
like, I've been here before, like,
Yeah.
whoa. And it makes it so much harder for the people who are genuinely excited about what it is that they're working on and selling.
Hmm.
And so in that process, I started to realize that, like, I was taking care of people's grandparents,
Right.
and my goodness, at the beginning I was like, it's just about like sales and like
Right.
whatever you can do to get them in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the way that I remember it, uh, we got sold into a new company. I was instrumental in helping it move from sort of like a real estate investment trust to like a PE model.
Okay.
And then we became the management company for the Canadian arm of it.
Hmm.
But the new CEO that got installed came onto a call and sort of said something along the lines of, and this might not have been the exact words, it's been a number of years, but like,
Hmm.
how many light switches did we turn off? And I stopped because I had already made relationships with the people,
Right. Right. Right.
and turning off a light switch was somebody's grandma dying,
Right. Right. Right.
was somebody that I had spent some time with.
Yeah.
And from that moment, I think I made sure I got fired. So I got fired, and then I traveled to a bunch of different countries,
Okay.
Europe, down into the Middle East, Central America, and started to just like recognize that like the world wasn't like this terrible, awful, scary place that like the propagandized story that we get, where
Right.
you should be afraid of like different people and different
Right.
cultures, and like if they think of like a different word that you use for like God or the universe or
Yeah.
whatever it is,
They're bad
right?
people. Yeah.
So, um, fast forward a little bit, um, I had a big accident
Okay.
and I broke my neck.
Okay.
And so like I had already sort of doing some work on like being a better human, and then I broke my neck and C5, 6, and 7.
Okay.
Um, and there were some really difficult days.
Right.
Uh, you know, being told that you would have no activities of daily life. They're called
Okay.
ADLs. So like
Okay.
couldn't feed myself, couldn't toilet myself, couldn't dress myself, couldn't bathe myself. All of those things.
Yeah.
And so then when I became a person who had a disability, there were some days where it was just like not easy.
Right.
And in Canada, we have like the ability to like decide if we were gonna
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
finish
Yeah.
it. My mom, I was like, maybe. And my mom was like, I did not carry you for 9 months and you did not live through breaking your neck for then you to just decide, I am not going to outlive you.
Right.
She's like a 4'11" like Baptist woman, and I
Yeah.
made her like use the F word, like, whew.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so then like just understanding then from that moment, I had already been sort of on this like journey of like the world is this beautiful place, and then like don't be an a-hole to sell,
Yeah.
um and that in the things that I've done, like I haven't been perfect. There's been people that have been hurt
Yeah.
in the path, and then just like choosing also that like from this place forward, if I can do as much good as possible, that's what I want. And
Yeah.
so it's been a long time
Yeah.
to come back and to be able to like walk and feed myself and do the things that I do.
Okay.
And it wasn't too long ago that I really just sort of said, okay, like I'm ready to get back into the world.
Okay.
And I came up with this like sort of saying for myself. Uh, Everybody who's watching this in Canada took care of me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
if you were working and you paid your tax, you took care of me. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't deserve anything else, but I desire to do a lot. And so I don't deserve much, but I desire to do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said to the universe, I was like, what can I do? And my friend had started Sunly,
Okay.
which is a solar company here in the Maritimes, and I started continually asking about if there was opportunities available, and then moved to Moncton, and there was a spot, and I just went into like my first meeting with my manager, already being happy that I was going to be working for like a company that like my childhood friend started, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to take this seriously,
Yeah.
and if this is an opportunity that's available now, I know that there are markets where it disappears.
Yeah.
And so it's my responsibility to just like work as fast and as hard and as quickly as I can to help as many people as I'm able to.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the government shuts it down one day, there's this guy named Jesse Itzler. I don't know if you know who he is, but ultra marathon runner, and he gives himself a score at the end of each day. And it's like golf. If you can leave a 0, it meant that you left everything out on the field, and
Right.
you should be able to sleep good knowing that like you did everything that you could for that day.
Mm-hmm.
So a long winding road story of probably 15 or 20 years of my life of just like realizing that if I can do something to give people something that's really truly going to make their life better, that's fun.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
then if I'm helping somebody with like a bill that's crushing them and taking them from like poverty and giving them their power back, because like the definition of power is like to think is to create.
Right.
Like in the Western Judeo sense of the world, God thought of the world and then it became. God thought of the animals and then it became. God thought of Adam and Eve and then it became. And so if I can help somebody with that thought that says, hey, I need help with this, and then create it, the faster I can close that gap for them,
Right.
the faster I'm actually re-delivering the power back to them. and then I deliver power in the energy sense of the form as well.
Right,
And so
right,
it's all in alignment, and it's like this magical, cool thing where it's like, I love this. This
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
fun.
yeah,
So the longest answer ever to I was a jerk. I've done some wrong in my life before, and if I can do better, I'd like to.
yeah,
And so then it's just you have to make that choice all the time.
yeah,
And everything that you're doing has to be a choice towards like how can I make things better?
right,
And I'm not perfect. I still make mistakes sometimes,
for
but
sure.
it's in the recognition of that I want to continue to be better. And I've also gotten a lot better at my boss will say to you like if I make a mistake, I literally race to him. I'm like, hey bro, like I screwed this up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
if he comes to me and is like, hey, what'd you do here?
yeah,
Or if I go to him and I'm like, hey, I made this mistake,
yeah,
he's like, oh, thanks for letting me know. If you have to have that conversation where it's like, why did you do this?
yeah,
Talking to a toddler. But if I own up to it and it's like, hey, like it's cool, like
yeah.
we make mistakes. So
And that's a big sign of like emotional intelligence, being able to own up and have the accountability on those mistakes, knowing that you're trying to do honest work, and whether you have the capacity to do it correctly or not, you're still humble enough to say, hey, I messed up because reason XYZ, but I want to learn to get better from that, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Can I ask, how did was it an accident or?
Yeah, I don't have a really strong recollection of it, and so
Okay.
like my brain tells me that it's a couple of different stories.
Okay.
But um, what I do know is I was on my motorcycle, and then the next thing that I remember waking up in the hospital with all of my friends that were around me.
Oh wow.
And I guess for like a 5 or 6 hour period, like I would just wake up screaming. They would calm me down, explain what would happen and what had happened,
Okay.
and then I would fall back into this sort of like screaming, unaware, like unconscious,
Yeah.
and then like I would just cycle through this. So like I
Oh
have a
my
traumatic
God.
brain injury. I have
Okay.
like broken bones in my neck. I have a patella fracture that like rolled my quad up into like my hip.
Oh my
It
God.
was something else, and the doctors were actually just gonna like let me go because they had like done x-rays and they had like done a whole body x-ray, but they like for some reason had done like my left side like
Okay.
multiple
Yeah.
times, and like they didn't ever get an x-ray that like my quad was like up in my hip, and like all of my injuries were on my right side.
Yeah.
But I mean they were dealing with a large tourist
Right.
screaming, trying to probably like it's a like my injuries at like the front. So if you know the story of the guy who got like the railroad tie through the front of his brain, he was
Heard
like
about. Yeah. Yeah.
wildly like
Yeah.
Phineas or something like that,
Yeah.
like wildly uncontrollable. So I don't know what was
Right.
going on, but like perhaps maybe that was what was going on. So
Okay.
like I'm a 6 foot 200 plus pound man in Thailand. I don't know
Yeah.
what's happening, but
Yeah.
I did it right. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And then the doctor came in and he was like, "Hey, like we checked everything out. We're gonna let you go." And I sort of just did a mental check of everything in my body, and I was like, "But I'm not really able to move my feet.
Okay.
I'm not really able to even like feel or like know where they are in space." And I was just like, "Please, I have $10 million of like travel insurance.
Yeah.
Like use it.
Right.
Please use it."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And they went and they went from like X-ray to like CAT, and then the doctor came ripping back in the room and he was like, "Do not move."
Okay.
And I just like said thank you to myself for advocating for myself
Right. Right. Right.
because I had C5, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
It's a unilateral fascial dislocation of the spine, so fractures in all three of those locations. And if I had been jostled, or if I had been moving, or if I had somehow managed
Could
to
have.
like regain,
Yeah.
I could have severed my spinal cord. And when he came running back in the room, I was just so glad that like my parents taught me to advocate for myself when I was
Gotcha.
younger,
Yeah.
because then I was able to get like a really amazing surgery. It's an anterior posterior fixation with a dog bone in the front and a
Okay.
cage in the back. Um, every doctor that I run into in Canada always says the like exact same order of things. Like, you should be dead. Do you know how lucky you are to be alive? I can't see how they did this surgery. It's really cool, and I think you're very lucky that you had the surgeon that you had. And I don't know if this is the actual case, but like again, I was like going through all my stuff and really just like gonna say, but like people here in Canada had like made a GoFundMe or something, and uh, it may be that like my surgeon who did my surgery may have also been the same doctor that got brought over to do the surgery for the Humboldt Broncos.
No way.
Yeah,
Wow.
because if the sort of like thing lines up, and it might not be, but like
Right.
um, my accident was kind of before that, and I was out in Alberta, and so then my story had like hit the like Alberta Saskatchewan news cycle,
Okay.
and then that happened in Saskatchewan with like those
The
with
boys.
that whole
Yeah.
hockey
Yeah. Yeah.
team, and I know that I think it's a Thai doctor that came over and did the work on them, and it
Okay.
may be either like Bangkok Hospital is like the biggest hospital in Thailand,
Right.
so it may be my surgeon or like from that same surgical team. But
Okay.
like the reason that I'm walking, the reason that those guys are walking is because like Thai doctors are the best with like spinal cord injuries. So
Wow.
yeah, it's
What a whirlwind of like scenarios kind of
yeah,
happening
I've
together.
had a life, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
What like so and obviously it's so intriguing the whole scenario of like going from you could have been dead to here you are today sitting in front of me, your legs are moving, your body's moving, and you're upbeat and all of that. Like so there was a moment obviously where you were like maybe this shouldn't continue on,
Yeah.
and you talked about your mother having an impact on that. How from the point where that changed from a negative into a positive, how did that road look like? Like how much struggle was there, or where were there moments where you started feeling like, okay, things are getting better, or my legs are moving, or I feel like, how does that look?
Yeah, I mean, it's not linear.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, like everybody thinks that like success is like this. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, there are days to this day that it's very hard.
Okay.
And sometimes it's choosing to go on for the next minute or hour
Yeah,
or day.
yeah, yeah.
And then sometimes it's just being, everything's cool and it's fine. And it's a choice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can choose to be unhappy
Mm-hmm.
that you're not Jeff Bezos.
Right.
Or you can choose to be like, hey man, some guy went to school for a really long time and spent a lot of effort to learn how to fully put the insides of my body back together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so then whatever you choose is what's going to like persist in your life. So like if you're resisting something, it will persist against you.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I choose that like I want to live in that terrible place, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Zeus taught us all about it. We
Mm-hmm.
all probably read or had Oh the Places You'll Go read to us when we were kids, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so you'll go up to the highest heights, and then sometimes your balloon will pop and you'll end up in the lowest lows. And there's a place in that story called the waiting place.
Mm-hmm.
And you can wait there as long as you want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's a deep, dark, terrible place. And some people never leave.
Yeah,
And some
yeah,
people are able to get out.
yeah.
And so I have magnificent people in my life who refused to accept that I would stay in the waiting place.
Yeah.
And then because of their decision for me,
Yeah.
their sure belief
Yeah.
carried me and beyond the places that were the hardest spots
Right.
and
Right.
still do carry me beyond the hardest spots.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Would you say it's the most important thing in any situation, whether it's this or anything in life, is the people that surround you?
Ascribing it Describing it as like the most important
Hmm.
would take away from the fact that there are a multitude of things that has to come together. And so I said that I took philosophy in university, and one of the
Yeah.
philosophers that I really uh, sort of glommed onto was Jean-Paul Sartre.
Okay. Yeah.
And Jean-Paul Sartre has a excerpt that is often cited where it says, "Man is so free that they are condemned by, or to be free.
Hmm.
He is
Hmm.
condemned by his freedom."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
actually, like I have it tattooed on my ribs, like I
Okay.
am condemned to be free. No matter what it is that happens to me, or what it is that you do to me, or circumstances arise,
Hmm.
I at the very end have free will.
Hmm.
And so I can
Hmm.
choose where to go from that circumstance. And so then it's not stuff happening to you, it's stuff happening for you, and
Yeah.
then allowing yourself to say, so what now? So what, I broke my neck.
Hmm.
What now?
Hmm.
Kill myself? I probably just made this podcast hard to put on.
No, 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 that's fine.
Or carry on.
Yeah.
And having a good network is really important.
Hmm.
There are people who aren't here who had fantastic networks. It's not the most important thing necessarily.
Hmm.
It's all of those things needing to come together and then being in a place to say, so what now?
Yeah. And making that right choice, right?
And then knowing that that's what's going to carry you through.
Yeah. Yeah, and I relate really to that. Not that like I've been in a situation so deeply impactful in the way that you've been, but oftentimes I found in my journey that those the moments when something happens that are very impactful in a negative way, you're left with a choice where you can give everything up, or you can take radical acceptance and be like, hey, like this is a shitty situation, but there's a choice and there's a path that may be hard and it may be uncomfortable, but it does lead to what you know needs to happen or what can happen. And I find it's rather, it's kind of like an unfortunate reality of life that sometimes those really negative impactful things have to happen to realize your power of choosing. And I find your journey is one of where it's like not a lot of people can say they've been like that close to not being alive anymore because of a really bad situation that, accidents happen and all that, but this is like sat there not being like being in a disabled position must be like it's really hard to make that choice of taking that hard road, right?
What's the hardest thing you've ever had to do?
um I think the hardest thing I've ever had to do is understand and take acceptance that it's it's more important for me to, or it should be what I should always strive for, to love the person that I am versus trying to be loved by everybody else. And even though that might not sound like a difficult, like, physical or, something like crazy like that, for me, it's always been something very difficult because I grew up as an only child, um, with parents that always wanted the best for me. And in an environment like that, what happens oftentimes is that you're you're left with this situation where um you're always like aspiring to be the best, and you often lose yourself in that scenario of figuring out like what's the best for me. And for me it was like, I'm still, I would say, struggle quite a bit with that, but that would probably be the hardest thing that, even just having the awareness of that, of being like, I need to love the things for me and love myself first before everything else.
Yeah.
I'd say that's probably the hardest thing.
You know what the cool thing about that is?
Yeah.
The hardest thing that I've ever gone through and the hardest thing that you've ever gone through are the true measure of the hardest things that each of us has ever gone through.
Right.
And so don't compare your hardest thing to my hardest thing,
Hmm.
because the only thing that we both know is that extreme of that was the hardest thing.
Right. Right.
And so if you want to understand what I've had to go through, you've done it. Whatever the
Right.
hardest
Right.
thing that you've ever had to go through is the hardest thing that I've had to go through.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
the same mechanism.
Right.
The journey is the same though.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's never ending. It's a process.
Right.
We're just working on it. It's not. I want to be super careful and clear with this. There
Hmm.
are things that are outside of like people's scope and realm of like taking personal responsibility.
Hmm. Hmm.
And whatever the most difficult thing that any one person has had to deal with, if it's that like I dropped my milk and my life has been so
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the hardest thing that I've ever, for a 9-month-old, that is the hardest thing they've ever encountered.
Right. 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 That's true.
And
Yeah.
so the extreme of it is what we know.
Hmm.
And so I just know that like the hardest thing that I ever did is the same as the hardest thing that you've ever done.
Hmm.
And so then how do you do it?
Hmm.
Well, you just do.
Right.
There's not stability, it doesn't exist.
Right.
We are dying or we are growing.
Right.
Stability is fake.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
not real. Like
Hmm.
this table is not stable.
Hmm.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Probably has a good price tag on it.
Yeah.
And it's decaying.
Right.
And because it's been cut down, it doesn't actually even have the ability to grow anymore.
Right.
It
Right.
can become something different.
Yeah.
That is a growth in and of itself.
Yeah.
Or forever, for the rest of its existence, it will decay until it becomes nothing. Those are the choice. That's the choice. The hardest
Mm-hmm.
thing is decay and become nothing, or move
Or
forward.
yeah. 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 I like how you put that. It's yeah, and I find like, and in the way that sometimes it's hard for people to um I guess be the judge of what the hardest thing they might have done is also like I think we often attach it to like it has to have like deep pain, right? Or it has to have like when I think of something like really hard, I think of like for instance, I'll see oftentimes on my TikTok, I'll see like, because I'm like really into running and stuff right now, I'll see these guys that are doing like 250-mile ultra marathons. I'm like, I've done a marathon at a pretty average to below average pace, and then this guy's
But you're
doing
not David
like,
Goggins.
yeah, yeah, but I'm not David Goggins, right? And so I think that it's like you say, it's like we also have to realize that the hardest experience is still your hard, and you have the power to choose the growth, right? And I think we don't give ourselves enough credit for that, right?
Yeah.
So,
And yet you're here.
yeah,
So you have persisted.
yeah,
So you've been through the hardest thing that you've experienced already.
yeah,
So congratulations. Great work.
yeah. I wish I should give myself a little tap on the back
Yeah.
there. So
Can I give you something
Yeah,
that
yeah.
somebody gave to me one time?
yeah,
Should is a terribly hard word.
okay,
If you're shoulding on yourself all the time,
yeah.
what does it sound like? You're shoulding on yourself. And I just hear it because I've had like people in my life who have helped me
Yeah,
with that. You should just be the way that you are and do the things. And part of what you said, the hardest thing that you've had to experience in your life is like accepting and loving yourself.
hmm,
I would pause it. I'm not a doctor.
hmm,
Take it or leave it.
hmm.
The word should is harming you.
Right, right, right.
Stop shoulding on yourself.
Hmm.
Just recognize that where you are is an opportunity to go left, right, forward, whatever it is that you want for yourself.
Hmm.
And it's should is a comparator, and comparison is the thief of
Yeah.
joy.
Yeah.
You know, I should run my mile faster.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to be that Kenyan runner who was so good that like he had shoes that like additionally helped him and he got banned from running. You know what
Right.
I
Right.
mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
what you should do is what you're doing, and then just take the the joy and the happiness that like I've not run. You've run marathons, right?
I've done
I've
one. Yeah.
not run a
Yeah.
marathon.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man. You've done something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've not done that. I have an admiration for you for that. Cool. That's sweet,
Yeah. Yeah.
man. Like go for it.
Yeah, and I think it's we often forget that there are, and it's, you don't want to compare it in a certain way, but we often forget that it's like you're at the same time doing things that you don't recognize, but also don't recognize that other people aspire to do those things one day, and you should just be content and joyful of the things that you've done for yourself
And
instead of shoulding or could
you
have
can
or,
be
and yeah,
content.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good. After this podcast, my life is going to be like so much better.
It
I
already
love your
exists. It
perspective
already
on that.
existed inside of you.
Yeah, yeah.
My dad's a teacher, um, and I've benefited from that. My mom is also like magnificent because like the definition of the word like education
Mm-hmm,
comes back from like Greek,
mm-hmm,
eduko.
mm-hmm,
And eduko is to draw forth from within.
mm-hmm,
I'm not able to teach anything, I'm not able to impart anything to you.
mm-hmm.
You have to absorb and then draw forth the knowledge that you have and utilize everything that you've learned up until this point to bring it back out into the world.
Right, right,
And
right.
so education is really gathering everything that you've experienced up until this moment, applying
Right.
that knowledge, and then saying, is this or this is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so I'm not teaching you anything as it were. All I'm doing is saying, look into the different places that exist within you,
Yeah,
and it already exists there.
yeah.
And then when you search those dark, deep places that you haven't looked at before, you unlock all of this, like, I don't know, we're kind of like the same age, I'm
Yeah,
gonna guess. I
yeah.
might be a little bit older than you. Uh, if you're playing an RPG like Final Fantasy or
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
whatever, like you're just unlocking extra skills. Like life does not get easier, you just get better at it. Like
True.
the first day that I woke up, I was in so much pain that like I just cried.
Right.
And you know the crying that you cry where your nose makes snot
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're
yeah,
also in so much pain that the snot goes over your mouth and then down your chin
yeah.
and you don't stop that from happening.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still in that level of pain.
Right.
I've just got better at dealing with it. Life does not get easier. You just learn ways to
That's
make it so
true.
that you're able to
Totally.
get through it.
Yeah.
And so then if you're willing to like gather that stuff and if somebody's willing to like share and it makes your take it.
Right.
You know, Bruce Lee said um to be like a true master, and again I'll mess this all up, but like it's what I took from what I heard was take the things that serve you and leave behind the stuff that doesn't. If it's going to make you better, run with that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody gives you a gift of pain, you don't have to accept it.
That's true.
And the greatest thing about that is if somebody tries to give you a gift of pain and you don't accept it, if I give you a gift and you don't accept it, who does the gift still belong to?
The person that's trying to give it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't need to keep that.
Right. I love that. So, all that being said, how does one use all this? Because obviously, like, I think your experience has brought a lot of awareness and also, this desire to really help people and to really, you know, not only provide a solution that I think is better for the world, but I think it's also something that a lot of people, they come from very little knowledge about it. Walk me through how those first conversations start with people. Like, what's the common thing that, or the common scenario that you're walking into when someone is, I would say, mildly interested in solar, but has a lot of questions.
Yeah. So, a couple of ways that like I will begin an interaction with somebody for the purpose of like helping them with their energy
Yeah.
needs. If I'm out there like actively knocking on doors, it's a
Yeah.
very different conversation than if somebody is like come to me from an inbound lead. So
Yeah.
like outbound versus inbound,
Yeah.
right? So outbound, you're home, it's been a long day, you talk to some crazy guy on a couch after hours,
Mhm.
you're tired, he made your mind hurt, and then some guy comes knocking on your door. Do you want to answer that? No, because I'm just a pest that's on your step,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So then it's my responsibility to engage with you in something that is like valuable for you
Okay.
very quickly. So knock, knock, knock.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. My name is Andrew. I am not going to bother you for a long time. I just have a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
Do you own the home?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have an energy bill that you're in love with?
Absolutely not.
Exactly. What I do is I help people with that part of their life. So I work in solar. My name's Andrew. I'm with Sunly. We're here in the Maritimes. And what we do is we actually help with a free assessment to determine whether or not we can qualify you for solar, to make it so that we can see if we can help you reduce that cost, make it a fixed cost for you, and get you on a path towards saving a bunch of money. And if you want to have a little bit more about it, that kind of a conversation, I see that we're at like 123 Main Street here. Your phone number is like 506.
87. Oh, I'm not
Yeah, exactly, right? But do you see what I just did
Yeah, yeah,
there?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You didn't realize that I said if I say 506, you're like, oh, the rest of my phone number, right? It's my
That's true. That's
responsibility
true.
to deliver so much value to you in such a short period of time
Yeah.
that you're willing to engage in the conversation when all you'd like to be doing
It's
is
getting back
sitting
on.
next to the
Yeah.
person that you love that you had to be away from for most of your day.
Yeah.
And so it's my responsibility to say, I have something that's awesome. And if you just give me a couple seconds, I promise I'm going to deliver so much value for you
Right.
in this short engagement that you'll want to talk about it more. And then the other thing that I say is, if after we have our short conversation where I show you what it is that we can do and you hate it, we never have to talk again. And it's been nice to meet you. You weren't expecting me tonight. Thank you so much for giving me a little bit of your time. I'll see you on this time and day that you picked so that it works for you. And I will come evening, morning, weekend, because I know that I might not have the opportunity to do this if the government takes this away.
Right. Right. Right.
If you're coming to me, it's a very different conversation.
Okay.
Why am I here?
Are you asking me?
That's what I say.
Yeah.
Why am I here?
Oh, my
Because if
energy
I,
bill sucks.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
right? I don't know why you sat down, purposefully went on the internet, and searched out
Mhm.
solar.
Mhm.
The best question that I can ask is, why am I here? Because you might be an
Mhm. Mhm.
environmentalist.
Okay.
You might really be unhappy with the power regulator.
Mhm.
You might just think it's super fun. Like my dad would literally just do like a solar talk so that he could see if like the science of it was, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it's so then it becomes my responsibility to determine why am I there?
Right.
And then once I'm there, cool, you have this problem.
Mhm.
This is your problem, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So now I know why I'm here. You told me what your problem is. I said, this is your problem, correct?
Mhm.
Cool. Let's talk about what you've done to solve that problem.
Mhm.
You're, overweight.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
What have you done about being overweight? Oh, you've tried CrossFit before. What did you like about CrossFit? What did you not like about CrossFit? Okay. What else have you done?
Mhm.
You've tried Weight Watchers. What did you like about Weight Watchers? Everybody got together and you celebrated the wins. That's a
Mhm.
cool thing. What did you
Mhm.
not like about everybody got together and they had to stand on a scale? My responsibility when I'm with somebody is to seek first to understand why it is that I'm there.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because if I just go in and give you like a wham bam, this is it,
Mhm.
do you want this? Well, you haven't addressed what my pain is.
Right, right,
And if
right.
I don't know what was the thing that made you break from the great experience of like sitting there and watching Love Island, because it's like this like, ooh, I can get out of my world,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
If
yeah.
I don't break that for you and get down to the like thing that's really messing with your world, I'll never have a chance on helping you achieve the outcome that you really actually have already said you want.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then I just move you through a process of like, well, what did you do? How did that work? What did you like about that? What did you
Yeah.
hate about that? Okay. Did that solve your problem? Obviously not. We're still here.
Mm-hmm,
Okay. What did you do there? Did you get a heat pump?
mm-hmm.
Did that solve your problem? What did you like about getting a heat pump? What did you hate about getting a heat pump? Cool. Have you changed your windows? Did that solve your problem?
Mm-hmm.
Did you put insulation in your roof? Did you get spray foam underneath your house? Have you changed the doors? Did you get a total home energy audit done?
Right, right, right.
All of those types of things. And then I just run the person through the entire thing. And then I look at them and I say, we've done all of this stuff and I'm still here.
Right,
So if you haven't done anything, awesome. The first thing that you can do is take care of the biggest
right,
thing that's causing you the problem, which is you're renting your electricity.
right,
And if you have done all of these things, you've done all the small things.
right.
The last thing is the big thing. And so that's almost more fun for me because that's where like their scaries are.
Mm-hmm,
And so
mm-hmm,
then it
mm-hmm.
just becomes like, how do I help the amygdala feel good
Yeah, yeah,
so that they are able to say yes and not say yes from like a place of fear or discomfort. Say yes from a place of like true power.
right,
Hit the mic. From true power to know that like to think is to create.
right.
I want this
Yeah,
and I'm going to do this.
right.
Because that person's not going back after that
No,
point.
no, no, not at all.
When my mom said, you will not end your life, there was no
You
going
were
back
going
for
back
me.
after that. Oh,
The ships were burned.
yeah, yeah,
There's no opportunity to go back from there.
yeah.
And so then all I'd like to do is allow the person to come to their own conclusion that they already actually came to.
Mm-hmm.
And it just happens to be in a conversation where it used to be adversarial and now it becomes a collaborative facilitation,
Right.
making things easier for them to get what it is that they really want and to help someone help themselves get the outcome that they already want to be better off.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I constantly say to myself. It's my responsibility to help someone help themselves
Yeah,
get the outcome that they already want to be better off.
yeah.
That's the whole process of it.
Yeah, and I love when you put it that way because I think that that's where we all have this misconception of the sales process is that someone is coming to you trying to sell you something that you don't need. When in reality, the job of a person as an advisor is this product going to be the solution to that person's problem?
Yeah.
And if you start from that position there, you're far better off because I love how you're putting it where you're trying to examine, listen, I'm just interested in what you did and didn't do, and I can tell you what can be done and can't be done. But what I'm bringing to the table is interest in, I know that this works 100%. I just need to figure out where whatever you've done hasn't worked out at all, right? And do you think that that stems down from, because so we we have a plethora of people that work within our company, and we have people that are doing more transactional sales, and then we have people that are selling bigger projects, and I often hear from the people that are selling on the bigger project side, well, I don't know enough about the industry, or I don't know enough about the product, or I've never built houses, or things like that. Do you think the product knowledge is the most important part, or do you think it's more about just the genuine attention and understanding and care that you put into the situation, or is it a mix of both? Or
You can lose things on PK,
yeah,
product knowledge. You can.
yeah, yeah,
You will lose things not knowing who you're with.
right,
um, if the first question at any of the Elmwoods Group stores from any associate isn't, why are you here today? You're losing sales. They did not get out of bed, get dressed,
100%.
get in the car, risk Moncton driving, possibly run out of gas, whatever it was that
Yeah.
they had to they've already overcome so many things.
100%.
If they're literally coming to your store
There's a reason.
and all you say is hi,
can I help you with anything?
the answer is always, well, can I help you with it? No, because we're pre-programmed for it.
Yeah.
You have to break the pattern, right? Why are you here today? What was it that brought you in? Not, can I help you with anything? No, it's a no question.
It is, yeah.
A yes no question is very easy because it's a binary. I can yes no. And if I'm seeking assistance, I may decide to be engaging in such a way, rather to say, what was it that brought you in? I can't say yes.
No, right.
I have to say, okay, this requires thought. What was it that I risked all of those various things to, possibly put on a silly looking shirt and get made fun of?
And I'll say, like, when you say it, I like, my first gut feeling is I need to find a response to this. I've like honestly never been really addressed in that way. Like, why are you here? Like, I'm like, well, I mean, like, I want to say something, right? So I love that. Like, it's very, yeah.
How was your day, Jonathan?
That was good.
Yeah. Or what was something that was really exciting that happened for you today?
This podcast.
Was it?
Yeah.
Cool. Do you know the story about the little boy on the beach? Oh, okay. I'll give it to us at the end of the podcast because it's a great way to like tie a bow around everything. So like, back to solar. There is so much opportunity, and I think that one of the biggest problems that we have in society is like, governments will set up all these like fantastic programs and then they believe that they've done their due diligence of like, well, it exists.
Yeah. I was just talking to someone at the golf course last week about this. We were talking about the dental program.
The CBDC or whatever.
Yeah.
Canadian dental.
And it was like, well, like, they put all these programs together, and it's because I golf with like, one of my good friends is a dentist, and he was talking to another guy, and however that conversation came up, we fell on this, and it was, to your point, it's like, the government will do all of this research and all of this stuff here to put something in place, and then they're like, okay, now it has to work. People in the private sector, you make it work now.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what are we supposed to do with it?
Yeah.
Right? And then it doesn't work and they pull it. Or the government changes.
Yeah.
Right?
The craziest thing is like, I am not a solar guru as it is in Canada. I know more than a lot of people, and I'm working on being better with it. And I just sat down 4 days ago with a client who came to me about solar, who also works in a tertiary environment of HVAC and large cooling systems, and he taught me that there is money specifically for Atlantic Canadians in like, and this is the thing that's like crazy about government, is like a purview of a person who so specializes is like, I do Atlantic Canada for fisheries for this specific sector of the fishery for this species in this environment. And then they deliver this like fantastic program, and then they are able to get a lot of money that is there.
Right.
And I found out from like this customer of mine, shout out to Danny, he's awesome. That there's like hundreds of millions of dollars every single year for stuff that I do that I didn't know about.
No way.
And so now I went to my grant writer and said, these grants exist. Here's some, I just went and paid her myself. I was like, these grants exist. I don't know what they're called. I know that it's for Atlantic Canadians in this market for this specific thing, for this, that, and the other thing. And I've tasked her to go and find that for me, because if I can help a giant sector that's
Yeah.
so important for our provinces thrive, do better, make more money, be more profitable, and have better outcomes,
Hmm.
well, that person who wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go put those cages down into the Baie Bouctouche
Hmm. Hmm.
to make our oysters
Hmm.
is able to buy more cages or buy a better boat, because then I was able to help unlock that portion that they were having to pay for. Like the long tail economics of those things is
Right. Right.
crazy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so how it all, like, earlier you asked me about like the single most important thing. Everything has to come together.
Right.
And so every day I'm learning that like a new program exists, or there's more money for this, or you can get money from this thing, and the messaging for all these fantastic things just hasn't been. And so then it's my responsibility to actively seek out that knowledge and then dig into it, so I can then be the person who goes and says like, Laura Secord, the Americans are coming.
Hmm. Yeah.
My knowledge is, to deliver the last mile, as it
Right.
were, of
Right.
that program. And that's where the public private partnership kind of has that, like, it's
Disconnect
the
there. Right.
responsibility of that last person to dig in.
Yeah.
And I now have MLAs as my client,
Okay.
and I'm reaching out to them about like, is this something that's like, and so then to get that collaborative work together, and not ask preferential treatment.
Right.
I'm saying like, maybe every new housing start could have these different types of things that are available, not just solar.
Yeah.
Um, and so if we can create a better outcome, and that is also, a lot of people think that like people get into government, and perhaps there are people who are like purposefully only self-serving,
Yeah.
and there are people who legitimately like want to
Yeah.
do well, and they get into it, and then it's just like this millstone that like takes wheat and slowly grinds it into flour,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And then if you have these like moments where you can like interact and pull the person out and be like, we could make a big change, like they get excited about it,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
really do at like the heart of it. I was in student government, and like at the heart of it, we're just a bunch of nerds who are trying to like do something that like would finally make us cool.
Yeah. 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 100%.
And like a lot of the people who are in government are like cool nerds who really like have like a heart for wanting to do whatever it is that they've decided is the
Yeah.
most
They want a
important thing to
meaningful
make it
change,
better.
right? Yeah.
So let's use that. Let's be inquisitive to get that knowledge that exists in those tiny little pockets with those specialized people to the masses, so that the delivery of the program can actually go well. Where like my brother is actually being trained on how to get he works for the federal government, how to
Okay.
get the dental program to people. And I'm so
Okay.
excited that you brought up the dental program, because I get to say like shout out to my brother for
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
person who's bringing that knowledge to the masses. So
No way. So, like, just to kind of to get really right to the root of what I think a lot of people are probably interested in figuring out is like what's the process, or like, let's say today you knock at my door, we have a conversation, I'm interested in this kind of loosely. um what am I signing up for? Like,
sure.
what does solar look like for the everyday person that, obviously I think what you've touched upon is a really great pain point. It's like, I'm renting my power. I'm So long as I'm alive, unless something miraculously changes, I'm gonna have a power bill.
Yeah.
But I want to reduce it.
Yeah.
And I think this is the solution,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So the first step is you have to call me 506-295-1752 if you're in anywhere basically north of like Sussex.
Yeah,
No, shameless. I don't care. Like,
yeah.
call me. Um, what I do then is I'll take you through an intake process where I'll ask you like, where's your property? I'll get the GPS coordinates. I will also get your consumption history.
Mhm.
The governor of New Brunswick isn't looking to hide anything, and NB Power isn't looking to hide anything. They'll give you the exact kilowatt hours that you use.
Mhm.
And I take that information and I apply it to our software that limits access. because it's very expensive software, and I will be able to then build a tailored program specifically for the way that your life exists. So
Okay.
instead, if you just give me like a guess at like what your energy bill is, $150 a month,
Mm-hmm.
go to, a department store, grab a suit, put it on, it kind of fits.
Mm-hmm.
If you give me your kilowatt hours, I am going to give you the most beautifully built bespoke suit that makes like every woman's head turn, because it's like, "Ooh, man,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
looks fantastic."
yeah.
And so the thing that like is really super important is like I need to know exactly where it is that you are, and I need to know exactly how much energy you're using.
Mm-hmm.
Once I have that information, I then take that, I apply it to the software. The software will build you a specific tailored system to the exact needs of you, your family, and anybody that's involved in living in the domicile. And then I come to your house. I ask you the silly question of why it is that I'm here. I walk you through that whole process that we talked
Yeah.
about, and I help you come to the conclusion that this is going to be a good outcome. And then that's when the sale starts.
Mm-hmm.
And it should only take me like 3 minutes to be like, this is what we do, this is how we deliver it to you. The outcomes are assumed with us because we've done this 3,500 times.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that we do, we know exactly what we're doing, we can deliver it to you. We've done it 3,500 times for people in the Maritimes. And if you have convinced yourself here and I do that short sale,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I'm like asking.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of ways to ask. You can ask for like does that sound cool? Like,
Mm-hmm.
or you can say like, is this a big thing for you? Are you gonna is this expensive?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna make such a big difference in your life then. Or if it's not expensive,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Like if it's not expensive, let's do it.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is that you present at that moment, that's where the like conversation begins. It's like that's where the no sometimes comes in. And that's what my responsibility is. And it's funny in the sales world, a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's the leads are terrible." It's that. No, you haven't studied. You don't know who's in front of you. You're not willing to love the person in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
I get accused, even in my company, like they think I'm weird. I'm like, man, like I don't know, just go sit in front of the person and act like you love them. Like I actually just sit in for the person and I'm like, I love you. And like somebody in my company was like, that's weird, like you don't know that person. And I was like, I don't need to be in love with somebody
Mm-hmm.
to love somebody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to come from a place of love and see that you're hurting, well then what other outcome would be the best than to like solve that pain
Right.
issue for
Right.
them.
Right.
And so call me deluded, I want to put a terawatt of energy down. It's a
Okay.
huge number.
Okay.
To the point that like the CEO of my company was like, terawatt. I was like, homie, terawatt, man. Like we are not dealing in megawatts, we are not dealing in gigawatts. Like our goal is a terawatt at least.
Okay.
It's huge number.
Yeah,
Look it up.
yeah.
Look how big a terawatt
I'm
is.
gonna be on Google right
Yeah.
after this.
Because if the program shuts down and we didn't get to a terawatt, we'll be way closer if we aimed for a terawatt than if we were like, let's get 15, and then we'll get to
Right.
like 15 gigawatts, and then we'll get to this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
cares? Go for the biggest thing possible.
Yeah.
That's how you make change in the world.
Mm-hmm. 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 So,
And then there's a government program that you're able
of course,
to, yeah.
little
There's
rebate here.
the very basic like knowledge that exists. The greener homes loan exists.
Mm-hmm.
So long as you're like not committing fraud against government, filling out your taxes, and you pay your bills on time, you're generally going to be able to get it.
Okay.
There are rebates from the provincial government. Whatever province you end up being in is
Mhm.
what the jurisdiction that determines that. Here in New Brunswick, we have the Total Home Energy Rebate Program. You can get it's a prorated, means tested program that's available to people,
Mhm.
or not means tested in that regard, excuse me, prorated based on like the amount that you're spending.
Okay.
And then you're able to get that as a rebate that comes directly back to you.
Mhm.
And then you can amortize your cost of energy over a 10-year period at 0%.
Okay.
And the cool thing that exists about that is if you think about, you know, purchasing all of something that you need for the rest of your life,
Mhm.
whatever, vegetables. If you had to buy every vegetable that you needed for the rest of your life at once,
Mhm.
it's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
And so if the barrier to entry is the upfront capital, the government of Canada has said this exists.
Right.
And so let's solve that problem by creating a 10-year 0% loan that's accessible to most people, as long as they're not, committing fraud against government and filling out their taxes.
Yeah.
Um, we'll do that for you.
Right.
So the government's not always the baddie. I mean, there are things that are frustrating about it, and
Yeah.
they're also looking for ways to make it so that uh, we as individuals can take some of the load off,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and literally some of the load, because when we put solar up on our roofs or in our fields or whatever it is, like I'm generating for myself and I'm generating for my neighbors, and that means that we don't have to burn as much coal that's coming in from other places, or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
rely on infrastructure that isn't necessarily working at its peak efficiency right now.
Because it does take a lot of weight off of the current infrastructure that is producing electricity, correct?
Yeah. So the grid in New Brunswick is quite hardy,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
There are places in Canada that exist where the population has become so dense that you have issues with grid density and whether or not you
Right.
can even get solar.
Right.
In New Brunswick, it's very. I'm so grateful that we basically say like, oh, we're deciding to go solar. We don't have to like beg
Okay.
the regulator to go solar.
Okay.
And also, we've had a massive influx of people, and so we have infrastructure that was built for a population of X, and then we've had hundreds of thousands of people more arrive. And so it's not that NB Power is the big baddie, it's that they've had to deal with a situation that was hard to plan for.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only option that they have is to increase their rate, because they have to do the things that they have to do to keep the grid operating.
Right.
We live in a place that is, in the winter, if our electricity goes out, people die. And in the
Right.
summer,
Yeah.
if the
True.
electricity goes out, people die. It's
Yeah.
39
It's like
degrees
40.
today,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't begrudge the people who are working incredibly hard. The linemen are fantastic. They're
Mm-hmm.
out there. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so grateful that they exist,
Mm-hmm.
because we actually are using that infrastructure in solar. We tie to the grid. And so we give
Right.
back to the grid, and then they give us what it is that we overproduce for it.
Right.
It's awesome.
So, like, why isn't everybody doing it?
Uh, we are past the riskiest portion of it, I
Okay.
would say.
Okay.
The first person who went swimming in the ocean was either crazy or just like so not risk averse,
Yeah.
like just like a risk taker. And so the first person who went solar, like, man, the cost must have been astronomical. They didn't really know like how the photovoltaics were working and the generation and the inverters and this, that, and the other thing. We're past sort of
Okay.
that phase of it.
Yeah.
And so we're getting closer to the idea of like mass adoption.
Right.
Why isn't everyone doing it? Lack of knowledge surrounding government programs, lack of even just understanding that like solar is out. But there are still people to this day, like when I knock on their doors, they're like, you could do that. And then also like it's always been this way, which is one of the most dangerous things that you can say.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just you rent an apartment, you get an NB Power account,
Mm-hmm.
and you rent the electricity, and then you buy a house and you take that account. It's what our parents always did. It's what our
Right.
grandparents always did.
We just
And
don't
so
know,
then
right?
if you've only ever seen the world through this,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then I come and I'm like, the whole world exists, and you're
Right.
like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a scary thing.
Yeah.
So that's why I have a job, and I'm so grateful that not everybody has taken it up yet, because I get to be the person who gets to be like, look at this cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't this cool?
Yeah.
Do this. It's going to make your life better.
Yeah. Yeah.
I promise you. And now that you say that you also agree, let's go together.
Yeah. 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 And I think like, so my first worry as a homeowner would always be cost. And I think that what may be a little bit frightening sometimes is like, well, like how complicated is it to get the grants? And like, oh, well, I'm still gonna have to put money in. Oh, well, how long is it gonna take to actually see a return on this? Because, so, which I think is really aligned with this, I have a really backwards thinking about retirement investing because I have a difficulty thinking about why shouldn't I spend the money that I have now on today when I'm 36 years old
Yeah.
and I can do all the things that I want to do versus like saving all of it so I can do something when I can't really move in the same way and all that. And only recently I've started saving and starting to see like, oh, it is kind of nice having like a little bit of money aside, and it hasn't really changed a lot of the things that I've done because where I'm trying to get with this is a little bit of what you're saying is, well, it's because it's always the way we did it, or it's always the way I thought, right? So I've come from a place where this short-term thinking was just, it's very what I do, and I never thought long-term enough to realize the benefits. But once you do start doing it, or you see somebody else do it, or you gain it, like you're more open to it, you start realizing that, okay, well, everybody is obviously not stupid, and they are, I've heard a lot of people are doing it, and it sounds like sound advice, and it kind of, because you still have to critically think about it in a certain way. But I mean, investing isn't a, like, it's not a snake oil salesman showing up at your door. But what I'm trying to say is like, it it's a lot less scary when you're open to receiving the knowledge about it and to actually sit down at the table and have that conversation. I think that's what we're all kind of uh, doing with the situation with solar, right?
I think that you're in the thought process. I love one of the things that I heard
Yeah.
there is you've literally just said like, I'll go to the gym when I get healthy,
Yeah.
or um, you know, I'll save money when I'm rich.
Right. Right. Right.
And so we invert the steps oftentimes,
Mm-hmm.
of what is necessary to achieve the outcome that we're looking for. And
Right.
so,
Right.
if you stop and really think of it, like I'll go to the gym when I'm healthy, it sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so for what you've just said there, like, well, I don't necessarily or haven't seen the value of like investing.
Yeah.
So like I'll save when I have money to save. You're not ever going to achieve that outcome. And
Correct.
yet somewhere along the line you've run into people who have been able to show you like, hey, you know what? Like if you make this decision now, the immediate outcome is likely nominal for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's the long tail economics that come from making this decision now that will make your life better. And so like the adage of if you need shade,
Mm-hmm.
if it's 39 degrees outside and your grandfather did not plant an oak tree for you, like good luck. You're
Right.
sitting in the sun.
Yeah.
And we can recognize the importance of shade. You see the windmills that exist, and then the sheep will lie in the shadow of the windmill.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, the benefits and the outcomes are harder for us to grasp because as humans, we're the only animals that exist on the planet where we can foresee that a tiger could come and eat us, and yet we do nothing about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, in regards to solar, it's my responsibility and my joy and duty that I've taken on for myself to be like, look, like let's stop and talk about the fact that like you're a dog that's sitting on a nail right now
Mm-hmm.
and it hurts. And I am not going to pick you up off that nail. You have to be the dog that like finally like realizes that like
I'm
it's
on a
the
nail.
nail that's causing the
Yeah.
pain for you. I am going to like do everything I can to like point you in the direction of the fact that like the nail is what's causing the the issue for you,
Mm-hmm.
it's not my responsibility to pick you up
Mm-hmm.
because you will fall right back into what it is that you're doing before.
Yeah.
And so with solar, it's the M&M conundrum. You know, if you give a child an M&M, or humans will struggle with this immediate gratification.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the test sort of goes along the lines of like I put an M&M or a couple of M&Ms in front of a child, and then
Mm-hmm.
like I leave the room, and if the kid like eats it right away,
Gotcha.
right, then
Gotcha.
like
Yeah.
even if I've explained
Yeah.
that like if you don't eat these M&Ms, I am gonna come back with like a Costco
Yeah.
size bag.
Yeah. 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 They'll
And
eat it every
yet the
time.
immediate gratification of like, but that M&M right now
Would be
would be
so
the
good.
best thing because my parents don't let me eat candy.
Yeah.
Like the candy in my house is a carrot,
Yeah.
and there's an M&M there,
Yeah.
right? And so, unfortunately, we often, or unfortunately and fortunately, what I'm often dealing with is the experience of like, well, it's working. Yes, it's annoying, and it's already taken care of. And so to do something different is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
yet at some point you were like, give me ribs. I want ribs. And then like if I wait too long to show up with like ribs,
Mm-hmm.
like you're like, like I ate I you know, I had pizza.
Yeah.
So like I'm full at this point or
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like it's also my responsibility, like, and our team is fantastic. Like if you put a request in, like we are reaching out to you as fast as possible because like the likelihood of delivering to you and the outcome, giving you the best outcome possible is only a function of how fast we can deal with that
Right.
pain that exists for you.
Yeah.
So a really like roundabout long way of saying, why isn't everyone doing this yet? Partly it's that people don't know. Partly it's that like people have something that's like working, even if it's not fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also just like a matter of like I wouldn't have a job if it was an easy decision where they could just go and bang on a screen and order it for themselves.
Yeah. 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 And I mean, I think that, you know, part of it too is there's not 10 of you, and if there were 10 of you, you'd have more than 3,500. I would guarantee, not saying that any of the other advisors are not good, but I
Yeah.
find that the way that you are very aligned with trying to help people, and your desires there of really having a meaningful impact for the greater good, and you see it that way, um that makes the decision equally as easy and as difficult for someone that is in front of you, because they might have come in being like, oh well, whatever, I'll take his call, and we'll sit down, and they're all pissed off, and they don't want to do it and stuff, and then they sit down and they're like, oh god, he's making so much sense right now. And
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite thing to say to those people is like, and this is where you're gonna hate me.
yeah.
And they go, well, how do you know I'm gonna hate you? And I'll say, like this might be rude, and you're probably gonna hate me for saying this. You didn't really want to have this conversation, and now so much has happened that you have come to the conclusion for yourself that like even if you were like, I am not gonna buy anything from that sales guy, you know that it's the right outcome for yourself.
Right.
And
Right.
so sometimes when I'm closing people, will be like, and this is where you're going to hate me. And I can tell that you weren't necessarily like, super happy at the beginning with this. Have I helped you see the light?
And I bet you have quite a few times.
Yeah, it's fun though.
Yeah. Yeah. And it comes from and coming back to where I started off with introducing you and telling how I felt, you give off that energy. Like it doesn't feel disingenuine, and I think that it you've obviously gained a lot of perspective from your experience of life in order to channel the goods and the bads and to put it into where you are today, and being like, this whole experience that I've had at this point on, I want it to be positive for everyone around me, and that in turn is going to make it positive for me, right? Am I wrong on that?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. I still
Yeah.
make mistakes.
As we all do, right? I want to hear the story of the little boy.
Yeah. Um, a, a really awesome friend of mine gave this to me. He just died. Uh,
I'm sorry to hear.
so um, his name's Tim, and he taught me this story. And the story goes like this: an old man lives on the beach, maybe in the Maritimes, and he has a beachfront property. And every day for an entire summer, he's looked outside his window, and he sees a little boy who, out there every single morning after the tide has receded, is running frantically up and down the beach. And he's picking up all of the animals that's washed up onto the beach. And so, after a couple of days, the old man goes outside to get a closer view of what it is that he's doing. And finally, in a fit of anger, he says, "Little boy, come here." And the little boy, with all of his work and duties, ignores the old man because he's busy. And so the old man gets a little bit louder because he's very angry at this point, and thinking he knows what's right because he's aged in wisdom and this is what he's always done, says, "Little boy, come here." And the little boy kind of perks an ear, but realizes that he has a lot of work to do, carries on, and finally the old man yells, "Little boy, get over here now!" So the little boy has just finished bending over and he's got a starfish in his hand. He comes running over and he's panting, and he stands in front of the old man and, out of respect, says, "Is there something that I can do to help you?" And the old man, in his wisdom and age, looks at the little boy and he says, "Do you know how stupid you are? Every single day you're out there and you're running and you're picking up these animals that probably the same ones get washed up on the beach. And every single day you're going to go out there and you're going to waste all of your energy doing it, and you're never going to make a difference." And the little boy, with a glint in his eye, looks down at his hand, at the starfish that he's holding, and he chucks it back into the ocean while he stares at the old man. And he says, "I made a difference to that one today." And so when you said earlier this podcast was what it was that you were excited about,
Yeah.
you got to be the starfish for me today. And if you remember, I said I don't deserve a lot, but I
Yeah.
desire to create something cool.
Yeah.
I had a plan. I
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to create something cool. I hope that you got to experience what it was to be somebody's starfish and thrown back into that excitement.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's I always listen. I always ask one final question for everybody that comes on, because I think it's one that how we've, I guess, morphed this podcast into the name that it is with the here's how. We're always wonder, like, because a lot of people have gone through really cool experiences, good or bad, in life, and it's obviously had an impact on their personal life, but also on their career. And you never get that opportunity again. But I always wonder, like, if you could go back to, any moment in life, whether it be like, the start of a career, or a crossroad or whatnot. If you can think of one moment, what did you wish you knew at that time that you could kind of express to other people and be like, I wish I knew this at this moment because.
Hmm. Um. I'd say that's sort of like a pivotal moment of like going back to and something that you've already kind of brought up, is that like I deserve to be loved,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that like um it's not always going to be easy,
Mm-hmm.
and the active choice to carry on when you think that you don't deserve to be loved, or that you've done so much wrong or whatever it is one of the best gifts that you can give to yourself and to everybody that has ever run into you.
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
Appreciate all the insight today, the discussions, the things that we didn't know, and also I think just a little bit more insight on both the I think the right way of advising people of things that can better their life, but also like I feel that the discussion, even though it was pretty brief about solar, it is really a good segue into wanting to know more about it. And obviously, you've given your phone number, so hopefully, people will be blasting your phone after
Yeah,
this.
yeah. 506-295-1752. I deal with everything north of like sort of like Salisbury up right now. I've driven all the way up to like Upper Ship again. We're Sunly. We've done it more than anybody in all of the Maritimes. We have an engineer as one of the founders of our company. We are abundantly cautious. We
Mhm.
are incredibly capable in what it is that we do. And we will deliver the outcome that we say. We're really proud. We have a 4.8 out of 5 stars on Google after doing this more than 3,500 times. So we're excited to do it, and a terawatt is where we're going.
Amazing.
Yeah,
The pleasure is all mine, my friend.
it was equally good for me. So don't take away my joy as well.
There you go. We'll have to do it again.
Perfect.